Thanks so much for mentioning me. Your hat says Trump was wrong about everything. It should say you are wrong about everything.
That's adorable.
All right. The board is clear. The board is clear.
Burned. Pam Bondi wrote that for you? The state of Louisiana in 2025 deported multiple children, one of whom was born in New Orleans and had brain cancer. Donald Trump got the pro-life, Bible-thumping Republican Party to say, yes, we want more of that. As a matter of fact, send Gregory Bovino down here to harass more people. So I have no doubt in my mind that the map's going to pass. If y'all can give us less than 0 seats, you would do it. Y'all do this under the orders of somebody that said the Civil Rights Act was harmful to white people, that it caused reverse racism. RFK said that black children are overfilled on antidepressants and that they need to be reparented on different farms, all of them. Pete Hegseth constantly brings Doug Wilson to the Pentagon to give a prayer service. Doug Wilson is the same pastor that said that slave owners were on strong spiritual ground. I don't have no belief in no morality on anybody that followed Donald Trump. If you wasn't with this map, you wouldn't be underneath this president. You wouldn't be in your party. You would stand up, you would stand against it, you would speak out about it. So as far as I'm concerned, if you here as one of these Trump Republicans, you already showed us who you are. You showed us what you want to do. And I believe the country as a whole is rebuking your party. Y'all are in a death spiral. That's why y'all have to redistrict. That's why y'all have to cheat. That's why Trump got to go to Texas and say he entitled to 5 more seats. It's because y'all know what y'all doing is abhorrent. We letting our people die in Iran based on false pretense that Tulsi Gabbard and Joe Kent said ain't real. Y'all okay with all that. So I'm positive y'all gonna be okay with the maps. But the beautiful thing is, the children that y'all have made and the people that's younger than y'all don't support none of this racism that y'all want. The MAGA party is the last breath of the Confederacy. And I'll be happy to see millennials and Gen Z bury y'all. There will be no more of your party. The midterms gonna come, y'all gonna get wiped out. Trump gonna get dragged out of the White House, and I'm gonna love every second of it. Because y'all loved every second of the suffering that he caused to everybody in this country. And worldwide, we starve in Cuba. We bomb Nigeria. We holding Zimbabwe and Zambia hostage for their minerals. We don't want to give them aid support. The pro-lifers that say all life is special, y'all letting kids die of AIDS. What part of your Bible say that? Point out the scripture. I think everybody would love to see it. And we would love to see y'all in the midterms. Just to address some of the things said by Jay Morris when he was up here, which I thought was pretty much hilarious. He said Mike Johnson is popular. Mike Johnson has negative 7% in polls. He said he wants to spread more of the conservative ideology. I think that's a uniquely bad idea that virtually everybody in America agrees on. The conservatism that y'all have spread through Louisiana has led to the highest rate of people leaving the state that y'all have been running. When you look at what's going on underneath the Donald Trump presidency, we have the highest amount of people that want to leave America. We have the least popular presidential campaign ever ran in the history of polling. If we have more conservatism, what comes with that? Less education, more dumb people. The worst education in our country comes from Republican states. More dead babies in the hospital. The worst infant mortality comes from red states. More mothers dying giving birth. The worst maternal mortality comes from red states. The most war, sending our people to die in places for no reason, comes from Republican presidents. The worst recessions, 10 out of the last 11 recessions have been started underneath people who think like you, who think like Jay Morris, who think like Donald Trump. And what makes it beautiful is we see it on display. Miguel's over here saying, oh yeah, Y'all have an issue with racial gerrymandering. What the real problem is legislation. That's what we really need to take care of out of that. We got a bunch of people came up here saying, we don't like the way that y'all write maps. Miguel is saying, no. All we get out of that is, don't solve the problem. Let's just do whatever we have to do to save ourselves from going back to court. This is pitiful. It's a reason why y'all movement is this unpopular, and it's a reason why y'all have to cheat to have any chance of winning. And what's beautiful is the midterms gonna come around, and you still gonna get wiped out.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Downtime. My name is Nick Suter, and with me today, of course, is Lance McMillan. Commander, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good today.
That's good. I love that Mitch McConnell thing at the beginning. I just can't. I keep seeing. Gonna keep seeing that. I told you I wanted to get that we did not make. I wanted to get make one with like the entire with Mitch McConnell, Trump, and what's his name? Rudy Giuliani, just do the whole thing. But that was a challenge. I have gotten nowhere with that. But if I get somewhere, you're going to see a cold open. Oy vey. So we did a show yesterday, in part because we wanted to really get people up to date as quickly as we could about what was going on in NATO, and in part because I mistook Wednesday for Thursday and scheduled the show and only realized that it wasn't Thursday when you didn't show up. So now there are a lot of things in play there. Okay, it wasn't, I'm just, but yeah. Hey, Sandy, don't mess with me, Sandy. But one of the things that I had said, because I've been thinking about what you and I would talk about, and I figured one of the things we're going to talk about is NATO. And for me, yeah, Trump did a lot of very bizarre things. Tried to cut off Spain, for which there's a number of reasons, but he's just like, we're ending all relations with Spain. And the Spanish just sort of sat there and just ignored it, and it went away. Brought up Greenland, which he was lucky to get away intact last time, and he's bringing that. So to me, this is a guy kind of in his what is it? I don't know that I want to say death throes, but he seems to be losing it. And then he bragged about how many people want to kill him. That's actually been misquoted repeatedly online. I've seen a number of accounts, social media accounts that have a clip of him saying, "Oh, I like to be number one on all sorts of lists. I'd rather be number one on TikTok, but I'm number one on kill. For killing, I'm number one." And they make it sound like he's bragging about he kills more people than anyone else, which wouldn't surprise me. But that's not actually what he was bragging about. What he was bragging about was more people want to kill him than anyone else anywhere. And in particular, he is the number one on the kill list of Iran. Yeah. We're number one. And I guess that's why they changed planes and did the whole 9 yards. And they announced the changing of the planes before he had landed. So it's sort of
the other part that I find fascinating, and I sent you a text about this. He had planned to stop at a number of U.S. military bases on the way home. But when he changed planes, that idea got canceled. But the original Qatari Air Force One-ish plane now did visit all those same locations on the way home. So I don't know, the troops come out and get to look at a big airplane and go, yeah, wow, gold-plated 747. What kind of idiot would fly him such a thing?
Well, and
That idiot. I
that
remember.
idiot, yeah. He keeps bragging about the plane too. He's like, this is a marvel of American, modern American engineering, yada, yada, yada. And I'm aware it's a Boeing, so it is an American plane, but it was the Qataris who completely retrofitted it, and then who knows what they did to it. Oh my God. Oh my God. And then I showed you this already, but so we do have, it was tough to locate. He talked about the Islamic Republic of Japan, the capital city, Japanistan, and we did finally manage to get the Japanistan flag and the Ayatollah of Japanistan, and we're still seeking interviews, but it's tough. We're a small channel. Sometimes we don't get the big interviews. Porpoise did ask a good question on Discord. Actually, let me find it. Let's see. She asked, first of all, if the Republic of Japan was in fact a genuine threat, and also asked, is there a Shintoist kingdom of Iraq? I don't know.
Stranger things have happened.
Yeah, like electing an orange. Oh, and okay, I want to talk about the ballistic missile in the room. Trump has apparently restarted the war, and that I could tell nobody saw this coming. Now, there was escalation. Iran had fired on civilian ships, but my understanding is those ships were operating outside the regions the Republican Guard had said they could go, and in the Memorandum of Understanding, it's the Republican Guard who gets to choose where they go and directs it. I don't know. There's nothing that says that they're allowed to fire on somebody who goes somewhere else, but having said that, there's gray areas here. I think they want to restart it anyway. I think that they're provoking to restart. So I'd like to ask you if you think that's true, and if so, why? And then why would Trump, who was reasonably close, and before we get the answer, you and I had talked about this, but this is the price of urea, which is used as a nutrient fertilizer. And this is the price of urea, and you can see where it was at the start of the war and at the end of the war, or not at the end of the war, but when the actually it goes all the way up to essentially the end of July.
Please clarify for the audience which war you're speaking of.
Yeah. And what you
We
can
have
see
so many.
is they've missed it's this war, this special operation. My apologies. And a lot of farmers were not able to plant their full crops because they just didn't have the money to pay for the fertilizer they needed. So now it's past the planting season, and to boot, a lot of the wheat in particular is getting burnt because of global warming and the change in climate and the high weather and all sorts of crops. So given all that, the price of oil had fallen to pre-war levels. So he was actually winning in the sense that he brought the price of oil down to even before the war. And then he just stands up there and says, oh, by the way, the war's over. And it was completely plausible to keep going with the exchange of fire. So why did he do it? And then we'll get on to, I guess, Iran.
I think as much as we think he's an idiot, I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying he has a reason for everything he does, regardless of how convoluted and twisted it is. He has a reason. And my suspicion is that this whole kerfluffle that's going on about Mitch, he needed to find something he could do to get people to pay attention to that and not to what's going on with the GOP playing Weekend at Bernie's with, a brain dead man.
I totally did not see you saying that at any time and have anything prepped for that.
Yeah, I figured as much.
And we've said it before, but I do want to ask you, why? Why the hell are they keeping him, pretending he's alive?
The situation in Kentucky is this: if McConnell is pronounced incapacitated / dead, then the governor can appoint someone to fill his position. The governor in Kentucky, my understanding right now, is a Democrat. So they don't want that to happen because that would mean that their narrow majority in the Senate is essentially eliminated. So as long as they keep the plausibility of, oh no, he's not dead, he's still, he's just resting after a long filibuster, you know, they can continue to hold that. And basically in, I think it's a week and a half now, maybe it's only a week, that deadline passes, and the governor can't put somebody in to fill that slot.
My understanding is slightly different. So as I understand it right now, if he dies before a reasonable amount of time before there would otherwise be an election, there has to be a special election. And they tried to make it so the governor could, in fact, appoint, but the legislature didn't give him. So the legislature didn't give him the power to do that. So now they've got a problem. If he dies before August 3rd, they have to have a special election. What's really interesting about this is if they have a special election, anyone can join as an independent. It's passed. You can't run as an independent in the current election. You had to register a while back, and Thomas Massie, who has been voted out, can't run as an independent because it's well past that time. But he could if Mitch McConnell dies before August 3rd. Once you hit August 3rd, it's just considered part of the regular election since his seat was up anyway, and an independent cannot run. So it's to both keep Thomas Massie out and to keep Democrats from screwing with the seat, because a special election would,
But that's essentially the whole thing. Is they're playing games with, you know, the same thing that they did with appointing people to the Supreme Court. No, Biden can't do it. He's going to be out of office in a little over a year. We got to hold that open for us, you know, because it's unimaginative cheating is what it is.
Yeah. Well, and it's going to turn us into
what flabbergasts me is that the Dems don't have the cojones to stand up and call it what it is.
Yeah.
You know, oh, we have to be seen as the good party. No, the reason
that's what the good party would do
is because you're so obsessed with being seen as the good guy that you're letting the Nazis take over, and they're going to round you up and put you in a special concentration camp and eliminate you.
Yep.
Open your frickin' eyes.
Well, and this is setting up a precedent where we're going to have, at any given time, because congressmen do die from year to year. We can lose one or two congressmen, you know, and it's like, okay, if they're going to wait until, if they're going to wait until an election cycle and just hide the whole thing, we're going to have anywhere between 5 and 10% of Congress will be dead at any given time. And they're just not letting it. That's it. It's just we're sitting here with elected dead people, just hiding the fact that they're dead, and everyone's going to know it. It just boggles my mind.
Yeah.
So Titan found a link, which I appreciate. So yeah, Trump did do the full thing. Trump says that the U.S., quote, couldn't build a plane like this, referring to the Qatari gifted Air Force One Boeing, 747, manufactured in Washington State. Yep. Oh my God. So,
I mean, there's nobody home inside that head anymore. It's just random neurons firing off and garbage blowing out of the mouth.
I think you're right. I think that's what, and I think he's sitting there. He knows that McConnell's a problem, and just while he's on the stage, he's like, oh yeah, the treaty's over, and it's just sort of like you're just going to unilaterally. Oh my God. So yeah, the whole thing is back on. Why would the Iranians want to continue it? In my view, they do.
They want to continue it because it gives them a lot of street cred throughout the region. They're standing up to the big bully boy Americans and the Saudis, who are essentially, depending on which way you look at it, the Saudis work for us or we work for the Saudis, probably a little of both, to be honest. And it puts them in a position to continue to agitate all of these minority Shia populations throughout the Gulf states and cause pressure. They're pulling that. Plus, there's the fact all their proxies in Lebanon are under enormous pressure right now. And if they actually come to terms with the U.S., then there's nothing they can really do to help those proxies, which undermines their position in that area, because now they'll be seen as weak and ineffectual and not willing to stand up for the people that they said they were going to stand up for.
Well, the last I heard, under the conditions that were occurring right before the Memorandum of Understanding, under those conditions and that level of warfare, Iran could survive for 2 years before a civil revolution was inevitable and probably unstoppable. So they can withstand that for 2 years was the assessment I heard. I don't know if that's how.
The key to having a successful revolution of that sort in a police state, for lack of a better word, is the people who are supporting the regime, keeping it in power, need to have lost faith in that organization. And essentially they need, if not to outright defect, at least stand aside and let the mob make the decision for them. And right now, given all the problems in Iran and the fact that the Revolutionary Guard are getting all these benefits and everything and giving them to their rank and file people, there's an incentive for them to remain loyal.
Yeah.
Because if they go out, then what's the new government going to do to them?
Yep.
At least now they're getting paid. They're able to get special, rations, gasoline, what have you, for them and their families to survive. Whereas you change the government and all that's gone and you're left, panhandling on the street.
Well, and a lot of them also can stay underground. So that's an incentive. Reports are that one of the strikes yesterday landed in the proximity of their one nuclear power plant, which Trump has threatened before. He's unstable enough. Now, my thinking is, and this is pop psychology, as his brain deteriorates, he just reflexively goes to whatever he's done in the past and has been most effective. And that's bullying. That's bullying. And so even though cognitively he may have already reached a realization that A, that's probably not going to work here, and B, even if it does, it's going to take longer than he's interested in. He wants out. He's wanted out forever, but he can't remember that. And so he's just going to start it back up again, and he's going to. So do you think we're going to have significant deliberate war crimes, such as the attacking of infrastructure like the nuclear power plant and or the invasion of Kark Island?
Let me talk about Kark Island first, because I know a little bit about it. So we can probably take Kark Island. It's certainly been fortified and is heavily defended, but we can put enough troops in with enough close air support to take the place. That's not the problem. The problem is keeping our people on the island supplied after we've gotten ashore. Because Kark is within artillery range of the mainland. It's certainly within drone range of the mainland. So what are you going to do? You can't use the airfield because, you know, they blow up any cargo plane that lands at the airfield.
Yep.
And you can't really use boats unless you keep the entire U.S. Navy's, you know, Aegis air defense grid centered on that one location to keep all the air assets out.
Yep.
And it becomes another situation like what they used to call the Anzio landings in World War II, which for about a year, the Germans had simply surrounded in their little beachhead and kept it there. And they used to jokingly call it the largest self-supporting prisoner of war camp in the world. Kark Island would essentially become that.
Well, if I were the Iranians, I'd consider, and I hear me out on this, I'd consider rigging the entire place to blow. And the reason is because even though that would be catastrophic for Iran, there's a very good likelihood if they take it, they're going to hold it hostage. And then the next thing they're eventually going to do is probably just destroy it anyway, because Trump, they've said repeatedly, Trump's not a man of his word. So if they're willing to just do it themselves, booby trap the place, fight to the last man to hold it, which they're willing to do because of martyrdom, then once they've lost it, wait until the U.S. is really comfortable, and then just, I mean, it is a powder keg. It's yeah.
So it's dumb. I mean, they're looking for a cheap option to show that they're doing something constructive, something effective. Because the only other option is to do a major ground invasion and drive on Tehran, oust the government. And the conservative estimate in the war plans was that that would take between 3 to 5 years. And it didn't even address the factor of an insurgency while that was going on. So, yeah, dumb, and dumber.
Well, and it distracts from the Epstein files too. So it's multiple. I love that little. It's not a Venn diagram. It's like a circular thing. It's like, okay, the war is going so badly, we need to distract from it. Let's release a few more Epstein files. Oh, the Epstein files are going so badly. Let's attack Iran. Let's you know, and it's just the Epstein files. They've had a few more hearings, but the hearings were not under subpoena or under oath, so now they have to get, because one of the guys, I forget who it was, but did a lot of the business management work for, I don't think it was his accountant, but for Epstein, refused to answer questions and then finally got up and walked out. He walked out of the hearing. So like, oh, that's fine, he can walk out. We're going to hit him with a subpoena.
Howard Hughes famously did that.
Yeah. So,
the second part of your question.
Oh, yes.
Would we strike the nuclear reactor? Would we strike the water purification plants? Would we strike, religious sites, what have you? I do not put it past this administration, in particular, Hegseth, who, if anything, is in some ways worse than Trump in terms of trying to demonstrate how manly he is by blowing things up. So, yeah, they could easily do that. Now, hitting the nuclear reactor is probably the worst one you could do, because prevailing winds will tend to blow any radioactivity into Pakistan. Slight problem? Maybe.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and Pakistan as aside from what they're buying from us now and all of the, being an ally and yeah, that's the thing. The two people there, I think Trump likes the idea of so Trump, I think just has he's an addict actually. He seems to have addictive behavior, and he's an addict he's addicted to being worshipped, getting praise, getting all that other stuff in a way many mammals get. I mean, like when you have a dog, you can call him the dog, but you're a good girl, and for him, he's gotten so much of it all his life that now the only way to satiate it is, well, we have to rename the airport. We have to put my name on the biggest building. We have to say that a however many foot pool is the same thing as making the Burj Khalifa. And if he doesn't get away with statements like that, it's not enough for him anymore. So he's a junkie on this stuff. And I think that's what he likes war for the same reason, because it makes him feel really good. But just like any junkie, a couple of weeks after,
it makes essentially an impotent man feel powerful is what it is.
Yes. But it goes away pretty quickly. So he's always chasing it. He's got to chase it somewhere else. He's basically already forgotten about the reflecting pool. And the reason is, even if all that gets fixed, he's squeezed all of the I've done something nobody else could do out of it. So that's why he's now, I guess they've just put up tarps over the columns at the White House. They're about to rebuild those. FYI, for those of you who didn't know it, it's on our Discord. They have put up, and it's interesting, they put up tarps that are painted like the columns, so it kind of looks like the columns are still there. We don't know what they're going to do to the columns. Nobody said. He hasn't filed a report.
Golden column.
Oh, please, no. I really hope you're wrong.
I wouldn't put it past him.
I wouldn't. Well, then again, the Statue of Liberty was gold when it showed up too. You got to be a little careful with that stuff. It doesn't, weather the way he thinks.
He said something recently about, we created the Statue of Liberty. It's like, dude, it was a gift from France.
Okay. So we built the Statue of Liberty, but we didn't build the 747. Okay, good. Well, and Hegseth, I think, and I didn't, that I really loved, and Sandy had asked who that person was, and I'll try again to find it. I deliberately left the page open so I could give you the name of the person. He was just a speaker he hasn't run for office. I don't know if he's interested in running for office, but I saw on the thread where that was on X, like people like, I will donate. I will throw money at this man if he will run for office in Louisiana.
Absolutely.
It was just, and it was amazing the depth of and you could tell because there was a subtle hint when he's like, "Who wrote that for you, Pam Bondi?" You're like, "Oh, he's watched the hearings. He knows who everybody is. He's and then he just
laid into him,
and he pointed out what I thought was really interesting. It's just like, if you couldn't do this under Trump. If Trump wasn't here, you'd be off doing other things. But now you've got Trump, and those of you who want to stay under that umbrella can stay under that umbrella. So if you're part of MAGA, I already know who you are. I already know what you want to do. He goes, so, you can sit here and lie and say that this isn't about race or this isn't about, but we already know who you are. We know your character. Yeah. I know and it's funny for that one guy who at the beginning was just like, your hat really should say you're wrong about everything. It's like, you have no idea who you're.
There's anybody in the room that's wrong about everything. Hold the mirror up, dude.
We did get, can we confirm that? So it looks like Dorito is reporting that Marco Rubio actually did have a conversation with, and he may have evidence. He's got Mitch McConnell. What does that mean? Hold on a second. Oh, okay. Let me put this up here. This is Marco Rubio confirming that he has spoken with Mitch McConnell.
He's in the box, man.
He's in the box. I probably shouldn't like AI so much, especially given that. And
Morgan Friedman, what's in the box, man? What's in the box?
Yeah. They're going to bring his head to the Senate floor to vote. That's what they're going to do. They're going to you'll just see a Mitch McConnell head. Oh my God. Oh, well, and it's what's even funnier too in some.
And they flew his wife out of the country so that they can't use her, to pressure her into admitting that he's down for the count.
Well, she finally came back though, and somebody asked her why she was gone for so long, and she's like, "Well, his condition didn't merit an early return from her humanitarian work in China." So it's sort of like the only conditions that would not merit the return would be a hangnail, for which he shouldn't still be in. I mean, I know we've got problems with healthcare in this country, but he'd have been out by now, or death. Yeah. Those are the only two conditions where it's like you don't need to. LJ, thank you for that. You have to see the show from the beginning. Go all the way back and watch the show after the standing by music, the cold open. You'll like it. It's more than just that, but check that out. Thank you, though. By the way, I do appreciate the thank you. So, all right, we
wife probably flew back to China to get instructions from her handler on what she should do next.
That's you say that.
It's
Marjorie
not said
Taylor,
in jest.
Marjorie Taylor Greene was on TMZ last night saying the exact same thing. It's Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's like, she's a spy. We all know it. We've all sort of known it for a while. And it's sort of like, listen, you might be Marjorie Taylor Greene is, and people have to understand. This is something. This is worth your time understanding. And I love when we get to talk about this stuff on a news show. What is an unreliable source? People think that an unreliable source is someone who's lying to you. No, because unreliable sources can give you very good information. An unreliable source just means you don't know if they're telling the truth or not. There's no way to discern, so it becomes unreliable. And if they give you something,
an unreliable source is one who doesn't know the difference between truth and falsehood.
Yeah, there you go. And Marjorie Taylor Greene is an unreliable source. She may absolutely be telling the truth. She may not. I got no fucking clue.
And she doesn't know what it is.
And it's Laura Loomer. Same thing. When Laura Loomer came out and said, I can confirm he's brain dead. It's like, thanks, Laura. That's coming from you. That's like... coming
from you, that means a lot.
Okay, Woodward. We could take it from here. Thank you. And it's not... And again, it's not that I think she's lying. It's that I have no way of knowing. And there's a common mistake in our brains to take somebody who is an unreliable source and just say, oh, so they're always lying to you. It's like, no, they're not. I wish they were. Then I could just shut them down. It's the unreliable source is a real pain in the neck. It's also like the other example that I really like to give is the hypochondriac. So somebody comes up to you, says, you got a friend named Bob. He's a hypochondriac. A mutual friend comes up, or you talk to Bob. Hey, Bob, doing good. Okay, great. Then a friend of yours comes up to you and says, hey, does Bob have COVID? He's telling people he's got COVID. And you're like, well, I don't know. He's a hypochondriac, but I don't know if he's got COVID. And then Bob comes to you and says, I've got COVID. And then the friend comes back to you and says, oh, have you talked to Bob? Yes. Does he have COVID? What's the answer? Most people think if he's a hypochondriac, the answer is no, he doesn't have COVID. He's a hypochondriac. He always makes this shit up. But it turns out that hypochondriacs get COVID at the same rate as everyone else. In fact, hypochondriacs tend to get COVID at slightly higher rates than everybody else. So in order to, you have to sort of differentiate between just because they're not reliable doesn't mean they're lying. It just means you cannot make a determination either way. That's it. And that's everybody who's basically spoke. Massey has come out and said he's spoken to McConnell. Okay, Massey lost his job because of Trump, lost his job fighting Trump, clearly does not like Trump, and has been a Democratic sweetheart for 6 months, maybe a little more. But you have to remember what he's done before that, which was far right. It wasn't conservative. It was far right conspiracy theory. There's no such thing as global warming. Get rid of all the vaccines. There's a reason he was pro-Trump for as long as he was.
Yeah.
So, would he be willing to lie to protect his party?
Or to try to wedge his foot in the door to being readmitted to some sort of office?
That's a really good point. Well, with McConnell dead, he can take that position.
That's exactly right.
I can't even that's a really good point. Because he can get his job back that way. If he's talking to the and he's got to be talking to the RNC there every day because he works for the RNC in Kentucky too. So he talks to them every day. So somebody has floated that.
And I've said for a long time, if you really want to understand the motivation of most of these MAGAs, it's all about what's in it for me. That's the fundamental driving force behind the movement, is how can I benefit from something? And I think that tells you what you need to know about him, is he's looking at the situation of, well, if I say Massey or if McConnell is dead, how does that benefit me? If I say he's alive, how does that benefit me? Which one wins? That's the one he's going to do.
That's a really good point. I like that. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense to me. All right. Well, so McConnell is not only unreliable now, he's in the camp of he has every reason to lie. I thought he was at least just sort of 50. No. I think you're right, because he can get his job back that way. But I don't. Yeah. They could dangle that in front of him. Trump wouldn't permit it. They'd permit it because they don't want to lose the seat. They really don't want to lose the seat.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I think that's the one thing that would keep him from getting elected, that they throw a lot of weight behind the actual Republican, is that there is more and more evidence, I think, that there are factions that are beginning to split off from the main MAGA faction that don't want Trump driving the train anymore and see themselves in a better position to take over the movement. And I think that terrifies them in some ways more than the Democrats taking power.
Do you think that's MAGA as a whole, or do you, well, let me rephrase that. Do you think that's MAGA politicians as a whole, or only in the upper echelons, such as, say, the White House?
I think it's politicians in general, because within the movement, we have seen the constant erosion of support for him. There's still a substantial amount, don't get me wrong, but it's eroding. And it's eroding in some ways faster and faster every day.
Yeah.
And so they're more worried, I think, about a proverbial night of the long knives than they are of letting the Democrats back in.
Well, and if they let
their experience with the Democrats thus far is that they're ineffectual fools who, they'll have 4 years of being in power and accomplishing nothing, because we control both chambers, and then we put our own guy up for the next.
That's, first of all, I think what's
there's some justification to that viewpoint.
Well, I've always said that's why I've always been an independent, and I do say we when I refer to Democrats, is because ideologically I'm far closer there. But one of the reasons I truly dislike Democrats is it's one of those things, don't have so open a mind that your brain falls out. And to change that a little bit, the Democrats are so busy thinking and like, okay, have we included everybody? Have we done all so that they will not act? And even when it's like the action is obvious and it's just, and then they're thinking like, well, if we try to do something about McConnell, are we going to look bad, or is it? And they're so busy with all the machination, the thinking about it part, that they don't do it. Meanwhile, the
They
Republicans
are not people of action, I think is the best way to put it.
Thank you. That's it. The Republicans don't think about it because there's a stigma against thinking about it, and there is in the party this sense that your gut knows best, and besides, God will make sure that you get steered in the right direction. So thinking is actually antithetical. They don't like the idea. So, but they are action. They will get shit done. It's just you have no idea whether the shit's going to be good or bad, and that's so you end up with we oscillate between, well, the Democrats didn't fuck anything up, so thank God. But they didn't, pass anything or do much progress. So let's bring in the Republicans because they always get shit done. And then they're like, we're going to go to war here, and here. And you're like, whoa, wait.
Well, the same issue bites the Democrats in the ass too, which is that anytime progressives or social Democrats, whatever, start seeing a rise in popularity, they freak out.
Yeah. Yep.
They're more scared of them than they are the Republicans.
That's a really good, and that we've seen that in the what's his name?
Well, I've seen it here just in the local sense, in terms of the state level races that we have here, and anytime we get somebody who's left of the standard Democratic position, I mean, the state committee throws money at the opponent because they don't want to see an actual progressive get in.
And if it's at the federal level, they pull Vote Builder and pull all the voting data and everything they've collected on who you can canvass for. Where are the Democrats in the state? You can't just throw a dart and say, okay, that's where we're going to canvass. No, you need to know where your voters are.
Yeah.
And apparently that's privileged information inside the DNC. Your name has to rhyme with Inton.
Yeah. But I mean, I told you about, we had a situation in the district I'm in for state level offices where the local Democratic precinct captain endorsed the Republican candidate because in his statement, when people asked him why he did it, he says, those women who are running against me or against my candidate are far too left. They're danger to the party. Think about that. Mm-hmm. A Democrat would far prefer to have a MAGA in office than a socialist or a progressive. Which
Mandami, by the way, is doing spectacularly well so far. He's very popular in New York, and so far now,
AOC and some of the others in that small group that have managed to make it into D.C., they're hugely popular in their districts because they get stuff done. They're the antithesis in many ways of the Democrats milling about smartly, accomplishing nothing.
Maybe another reason why they don't like them is nothing breeds hatred like success. If they're succeeding, it makes you look worse. So get rid of them. Oh, I did want to make an announcement, and I'm disappointed. I should have figured this out sooner because it's on my calendar, and I have on his birthday in the last couple of days, I have reached out to Operator Starsky, and I have not done that this year because it's been crazy and it wasn't on my calendar. So I appreciate being notified of that. It is his birthday today. We haven't had him on in far too long. Entirely my fault. But I'm going to blame Lance because he's here. And he has nothing to do with the scheduling, but, hey, we'll find a way to, like I said, when the dog has been producing the show, it's been on time. So maybe we'll just have her do the booking.
Maxima culpa.
Exactly. So first of all, happy birthday to you, Operator Starsky. You are, I'm sure, not watching right now, but if anyone has a chance to see him, just let him know that everyone on In Time, especially myself, wanted to wish him a happy birthday. The other thing is Pyro. It's also his birthday, I learned. And I sort of vaguely remember that from before. We were down for like a year. We were down for a year. You know, things, what was it? It's every now and then I'm sitting there going like, I've forgotten. But at any rate, Pyro Kurt is, it's his birthday this year, so you know, he's been a supporter, and we see him around a lot, and we really appreciate it. So, Pyro, happy birthday to you as well, and thank you so much. It's always good to see you, and I see you when I go head over to Greg's. So, happy birthday to you both. So, in the meantime, actually, that also does that. We've had it's not showing me.
In case people had not caught it, Greg did a really good summation, I think it was yesterday, about the NATO summit and the fact that we're giving the license to Ukraine to produce their own Patriot interceptors.
Yes.
He said, don't overthink what that really is doing, because it's going to take a minimum of 2.5 to 3 years before they start rolling anything off of the assembly lines.
Yep. Titan, if you can get a copy of that, if you've got a moment, and you can get a copy of that link and drop it in so that we can we actually have also too, we have on our Discord, we have a channel just for Greg's shows, and we drop each show as they go, because you know we're tight with Greg. So thank you for bringing that up. So thank you again. Happy birthday again.
It's important,
yes,
both not to overstate it, but also to see what that and other things that came out of that summit mean. And Europe in particular pledged, not just for this year, but for next year as well, $7 billion this year and next year.
Oh my God.
That's not $7 billion combined. That's $7 this year, and at least $7 was the language that was used for next year. So the other thing is that the only 2 countries that thus far have been authorized to produce Patriot interceptors, and even then it's only like in assembly, it's not in manufacturing the actual component parts, have been Germany and Japan. Interesting that those 2 countries just saying, you know, given the historical precedents. But
well, yeah.
The way it was said coming out of the meeting, it was that Ukraine was possibly going to be given even more wherewithal to produce stuff.
And that, to be honest, now this could be self-fulfilling prophecy, or you know, there's any number of, but like I said, I think he's losing his mind. We've had a theory for a very long time that Putin has compromat on him, and I think that theory has been easily defensible since Trump's first term, let alone afterwards. So the fact that he would do this and doesn't seem to fear repercussions from Russia suggests either they no longer have that compromat, we were wrong about the compromat in the first place, and they never had it, or, and I don't think the first 2 are true, or he's not able to keep in his head the people who are blackmailing him and what all the various needs are to any given situation at any given time, so he's willing to just do shit like that.
There's a 4th option.
Oh, okay, great.
If you assume that the compromat is stuff that was gathered while he and Epstein were off doing their things, And much of those files have already been released, and it looks more and more likely that he can't stop the rest of it from coming out. The fact that it's due to come out anyway, the fact that Putin may have it doesn't mean anything to him in that case.
Mm.
You know?
Yeah, that's a really good. I hadn't considered that.
I'm not saying that is
Yeah.
what it is. I'm just saying that's another possibility.
Well, I'd like to, again, I'd like to, I like to take the opportunity to when we do, listen, everyone's going to have to make up their own mind. We present like what we think and what we know, and then we put it together. But the very first thing I said is we've had an assumption from the beginning that he's being blackmailed. It's not an assumption. We've based it on evidence, but it's possible we were wrong. We don't have proof of it. We just have, so that's just, I think you brought up another good thing to consider. I don't think we were, but.
Yeah, as Mitch in the chat stream said, not compromise ideal. And that to some extent could also be true, which is that the Russians underwrote that big loan he got from Deutsche Bank. And in his first term, they could threaten him by saying, yeah, we'll, say we're no longer supporting it and you have to cough up the money to pay it. And that was a threat. But he's embezzled so much in the first year of this second term that it doesn't matter. He could easily pay off that loan.
That's a really good point. Good call, Mitch. That's a spectacular. Well, yeah. My assumption has always been it's been both the carrot and the stick. It's been
a combination. The Russians are very good at handling that kind of thing.
But the reality is the up until recently, the Deutsche Bank thing is huge because it was 5 loans to the tune of $22 billion. And the Bank of Moscow underwrote all of them.
Yep.
And if they bail, he's on the hook. And and he's been bankrupt so many times anyway, and he hasn't shown us I think his net worth has been virtually zero up until now. And now he could, so the Russians lost at a minimum the use of the carrot going forward. And the stick, as you pointed out, maybe is becoming more and more irrelevant.
Yep.
David Marvin gifted 5 memberships. Thank you very much, and congratulations to Broadcast Cat, who got a membership. And I know that meant a lot. So congratulations, and thank you for always being there. And thank you, Dave Marvin, for that. You've made a lot of people's days. So thank you. I appreciate your continuing to support us. We really appreciate it. Ken Vet, sorry, member 22 months. Happy birthday, Starsky. Amen. Happy birthday to you, Starsky. And may, within the next year, you and your country know genuine freedom. That's sort of my wish every year. One of these years, it will come true. And may it be this year. Pyro Kurt, Brubaker, $10. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for all the birthday. Well, thank you, sir, for always being here, and good to see you. Thank you very much for your support and for the super chat. And once again, happy birthday. So before we go, the only other interesting thing is Mexico is about to file criminal complaints against the United States. Now, this is an interesting thing. There's no international court to which the U.S. is subject to its jurisdiction. The Mexico can't file a complaint somewhere else, but what they are doing is they're filing a complaint in the state and Department of Justice with the prosecutors in a number of different states. It's, I think, 28 complaints. One of them is in particular on the death of a man. Let me... Sorry, I lost his name here, so let me get this back up real quick. Lorenzo Saldago, and Arujo, because the J is silent in Spanish. He was being detained by ICE. He was shot and killed. His death was just ruled yesterday a homicide by the medical examiner, and he was shot by ICE. So, I don't know that this is going to be any breaking of the dams in terms of accountability for ICE, but it's getting harder and harder for them to shoot people in the head and just walk away from it. What the Mexican president is doing is filing criminal complaints. Now, almost anyone can file a criminal complaint, certainly any governing body. So they're going to file that at each state in which there has been a death of a Mexican citizen and with the DOJ. And what they're going to charge is that there's been a murder here. We insist that this be investigated. Here's the evidence we have. And that's it. That's the criminal complaint. And presumably the DOJ would investigate it. And if they believe that there's enough to actually win a case, then they would bring charges and indictments and so on and so forth. At the state level, they may well do that. We'll see. Minnesota has had mixed to poor luck going forward with that. At the federal level, it's not going to happen. So it's still, I think I don't know. It's a nice feeling that there's another country that's actually bringing cases to the U.S. jurisdiction. They don't actually have standing per se. They're bringing it on behalf of the people who were murdered, who were their citizens. And it's nice to see, and it's sort of, I'm sure she's going to draw the ire of Trump for this. He's going to be like, all the cartels, now we have to invade. It's really because of the criminal complaints. But she isn't putting up with, oh, here we go. Here we go. Show's over. Thank you all so much for...
Man, the door's open. Good girl.
This is why my dog hasn't been on air yet, because as soon as she does, I get replaced. We know it. We know it. All right. Here we go. Hopefully we're all going to meet.
Okay. And here she is. Da-da-da.
Oh, hello there.
Still not a year old.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Still a puppy.
When mine gets comfortable on my lap, mine's a rescue. I've never done a rescue. And you and I have talked about training before, but I had a friend who did rescues, and I knew that the skills were different, and that some of the training subset of skills is actually counter to how you would operate, and especially dominance training, so on and so forth. And so I've been learning, but it's been wonderful, and she's a great dog, and we're pictures of her and a little bit about her is on our Discord, so come join us on the Discord. And I don't know, any final thoughts before we go?
No, we'll see by next Thursday what other exciting stupidity the administration can find to do in a week.
I'm curious to see how many members of Congress will actually be alive.
Yeah,
it's starting to be all right. Well, thank you all for joining us. Our next scheduled show is Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with a Xandring. It'll be in time. I think we have one or two other things going on, but join the Discord and you'll find out. Discord will also notify you when YouTube does not, when we go live. Other than that, we try to keep your notifications to a minimum. Thank you all for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you for breaking news, probably in 20. Maybe we'll get through the credits. I don't know. Thank you so much, Lance. Good to see you, and take care. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.